Aloha, so here we are in Noni Land with Avocado. This is Michael Mackintosh with Success Ultra now, living in magic. Enjoying another wonderful day, aren't we, brother?
This is just pure magic, Hawaiian beauty, lots of rainbows, lots of beautiful sun, and an occasional sprinkle, but right at the perfect time.
Perfect time, yeah. We've seen a few storms. You just missed those, actually, didn't you? The big
Yeah,
storms.
just came in underneath all that.
Trees coming down, trees ending up on the beach, everything. So we're now just about at 2010. We're very, very close now to 2012. And
It's days away, literally.
It's days away. And so the question is, are you ready for what's coming? Because I'm feeling it, Avocado's feeling it, lots of people are feeling it. You're either going up or you're going to get hit, because so many people are losing their jobs, losing their houses, losing their minds, losing their health, and that's serious business. And I get lots of emails. I'm sure you've been coming across people again and again and again. So we need to know whether we're on the ascent or on the descent, So what I wanted to talk about today is how to genuinely maintain having the best day ever, no matter what. This is a question that I've been wanting to ask you for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, because things happen, isn't it? Realistically, it's not that there's always everything perfect. Things happen, planes you can miss. Something doesn't happen, someone doesn't turn up, something breaks. These things happen. So how have you managed to do that when things don't work out in the way which is planned?
Yeah, I've had days that were absolutely going sour for sure. Really, literally the worst news ever in the morning, and by the evening, it was the best news ever.
Yeah.
Literally, it was that much of a flip around. So I'm a big believer that attitude is the spring of eternal abundance. That your attitude about things is really the spring that launches you out into the world with either a positive vibration or a negative vibration. And if you approach everything that happens in your life, let's say your car breaks down and you don't have the money to fix it, right? It's the worst day ever. Yeah. And if you approach that and then you continue with a positive attitude about how to solve that issue, by evening time you may have stumbled into someone who'll fix your car for free.
Yeah.
This happened to a friend of mine the other day. We drove out to East Los Angeles together, and she literally had a car break down, and this guy fixed it for free. And that's because of her positive attitude.
Yeah, that's right.
She was able to manifest that. So this idea of the positive attitude is essentially like a wellspring. It's literally a bubbling spring of energy that's eternal, that allows you to access more options or choices. No matter what happens to you. And if we are always of that mindset that no, today is the best day ever, no matter what, you'd be amazed by what happens when you have that mindset.
Yeah, that's been my experience as well. Anything is going to happen. We don't know why.
Anything could happen anytime.
So that's where the magic comes in, is because things do genuinely shift around, And I think one of the things that I'm trying to learn myself is to understand how there is benefit in something when it happens, because afterwards you can always tell. If you look back a year ago, if something went wrong, this whole thing collapsed, and it was like, oh my god. But to be able to see that in the moment, that's something. Have you had any experience on that?
Oh, I've had a lot of experience of that in the last 3 years. You wouldn't even believe. I mean, one day I'll write a book about it. Yeah. And I'm just through the eye of the needle, just coming out the other side going, I just narrowly evaded a major catastrophe of unbelievable proportions, simply just by believing that, no, I'm going to actually get out of this without any trouble. It's going to all happen, and it will happen smoothly, and it's all perfect. It's actually, like what you're saying, it's teaching you something immediately, even though a year later it's a little easier to have that hindsight, but immediately there is something to be there, to be looked at there, and I've been doing that as well. It's like when it happens, okay, what is this? What is this for?
What is it telling me?
Yeah, and it's the guardrail. That's how I look at it too. It's like you're hitting the guardrail. It's time to get back on the road. So it's telling you that, hey, maybe this isn't the rate and direction you need to be going. This isn't your vector. You got to go this way.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's tough, because sometimes you're attached to something. So I've just opened up to the universe. If whatever's to happen is to happen, it's like, okay, take it, do whatever needs to happen. Or if I'm supposed to have this, then allow it to happen, instead of trying to fight it and force it one way or the other.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a it's a very subtle thing, isn't it? Because it can go one way or the other. We don't really know quite the result of these things when they happen. So to make the right choice when these things happen, that's real art. It's got to be said.
It is a real art. It absolutely is an art. It's actually the art of the great entrepreneurs, and the great social and political leaders of the world is this kind of idea of like following the flow, even though we're not exactly sure which way it's going to go.
That's right.
You know, so you kind of got to feel it out, and then you watch for synchronicities to help guide you, and you watch as to who steps forward to help, because people will step forward to help. And you know, you pay attention. It's really actually it's a lot of it is attentiveness, right? Which is totally being aware of all signals and cues coming in from all different directions, from plants, animals, birds, reptiles, the ocean, the weather, the what you hear on your iPod, your reading that you happen to be in front of you at that moment. You know, what somebody says in the line behind you that you overhear. All these things could be messages.
That's right. Yeah, it makes a big difference, being open. A lot of people, they don't have that attitude, they're just shut and they think it's terrible, and that's all they can see. And then that's the life.
Right,
you know, that's it.
That's it.
And then that becomes a program and it goes round and round and round and round and round, and then that's the end of it, you know.
Well, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So a person who has a bad attitude is not helpable. No. There's no way to help them. They have to actually come out of that cycle and hit rock bottom. You know, when they're down so goddamn long, as Jim Morrison said, then it looks like up to me, right? At that point, as soon as you hit the bottom, then you might go, oh, wait a second, I'm supposed to actually open myself up to other things. Cancers, different diseases that come across my radar, a lot of times are really deeply embedded into this. No, I can't look at anything. No, this is the only way. This is how it is. Until that moment comes where the cancer or whatever it is that delivers the final message of like, dude, you better turn this thing around.
You're gonna die.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay. What else can I do? Yeah, let's go and see David. We'll be all right.
When it comes to that, like, okay, you're actually gonna die now if you continue to do this. You know, and stay in that narrow-minded, like total, like
smashes something. Yeah.
Yeah. What's that phrase? It's like a when somebody becomes so narrow-minded, it's dogmatic. It's dogma. You know, karma's going to run over your dogma.
It's only this, and that's it. There's no second or third. It's just one. You know, it's a killer. It really is.
It is. It's essentially what's happening in our world. Is that as this time vortex is opening up, this 2012 moment. You know, 2010 is real close to that. I mean, we are right there.
We're right there.
We're having what you say happen, which is this opening is occurring, and it's like a plant reaching for the heavens, and on the other side of it, it's like the tree's coming down and it's crashing.
It's a big tree.
It's a big tree. I had a tree crash in this yard over here one night at about 2 or 3 in the morning, and I'd never heard a tree die. Like actually, just like that was its final moment. I thought someone was out in the yard with a shotgun, and there was like 3 blasts, like bang, 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 and then a final like maybe 15-second wait, then another bang, and it was so loud and intense and full on. It was like, okay, that's the old thing dying, and it's going to go out with a bang.
Yeah.
But it is dying.
It is dying. And one of the beautiful things is that often you get a new sapling growing out of the old tree, and I think that's what's happening nowadays to us, you know. It's like that whole thing is falling down. It's a big tree.
Yes.
It's decayed. It's like it's been decayed from the inside.
It's been rotted out.
Now it's just like it can't. It's just about. And you can hear the cracks. Can't you? Now they're going to crack. The economy's going. Crack something else. Yeah, and we're getting closer and closer. So what's your feeling about these next 2 or 3 years?
Well, very important is that we get with the deprogram. That we become aware of our own reactions to media, for example. Like, I'm in an airport. The only time I ever see the news is in the airport. I'm sitting there. It's like forced on you. Yeah. But I'm very aware of what it's doing to me. These messages that are being put out and these fear campaigns. So we've got to become very aware of the media that's around us and how it's influencing us inside ourselves, and be ready and willing to turn it off. Turn off that television. If it's not making you feel good, get rid of it. You know, if it's running fear programs, turn it off. Get away from it. Ultimately, it's not the news. Actually, what it is programming. And you know what's amazing to me is how many people, like my mom, you can't hypnotize me. I'm immune to hypnosis.
Oh, yeah.
Meanwhile, they're watching TV 5.5 hours a day.
That's so funny. You know that book Influence?
Yes.
That's such an amazing book. If anyone hasn't seen that, they should go and get that book, because it goes through all the different factors of influence. And in all these studies, people thought they weren't being influenced. And again and again and again, oh, no, I'm completely immune to it. But what they actually do physically every day is completely the opposite. It's amazing.
Robert Cialdini's work is really seminal in understanding human psychology, and we've got to be very, very aware of our immediate suggestive environment as we approach 2010 and entered into 2010, because our immediate suggestive environment, what our husband's telling us, our wife is telling us, what our kids are telling us, what our television's telling us, and how that's affecting us, we have choices to say, no, we don't do that anymore. We're not going to talk about that anymore. We're done with that. We have choices like that that are before us. So, for example, a good friend of mine, he's a 2012 guy, Daniel Pinchbeck. The thing that really got him is when I was doing an event one day, and I said, all like sad music, depressing music, I erased it. I deleted it. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's, Wild Horses by the Rolling Stones. Delete it. Too low energy. Too much depression. It's like we don't need those energies around. However, we have to be aware of how we invite them in subconsciously by like allowing a song to play on the radio that's causing us to feel depressed. Turn it off. Get rid of it.
Yeah. I haven't had a TV for years and years and years. I hardly know anyone who has, actually.
That's why you're doing this, by the way.
That's right. This is our new TV.
You did right. This is the new television. The reason why you're able to get a positive message like this is because Michael actually turned his television off probably 2 decades ago, and that's the end of that.
That's right. And when I do see it, occasionally go to someone's house and it's playing, I'm like, people watch this? This is what the adverts are saying. I'm amazed.
Yeah, it is amazing.
What the hell? They're actually sitting here absorbing this stuff, and the fact that they believe it as well. When you speak to people, no, but I saw it on television. That's what people say.
Yeah.
It's like, but the news is edited. It's edited. You can't give a whole picture of any story in like 10 seconds.
Just that idea alone. It's like, here's the news, and we have a 10 seconds on this and 30 seconds on that. Yes, how that could actually really go to the depths of the real story, because no matter what happens, let's say...
It doesn't matter. If you try, even if you honestly wanted to give both sides of the picture and you couldn't do it.
Yes.
You'd need like a 3-month-long study, and hours and hours and hours of different interviews and everything to get any idea about a situation. I often found when I came to Hawaii, people were telling me, don't go in the ocean because you're going to die of radiation poisoning, or nuclear bombs are going off, and I was like, what? Someone actually emailed me, phoned me up, was like warning me, don't go in the ocean. I was like, what do you mean? We're going every day, we're in the ocean. Because they're hearing stories on the radio in England about it,
Right.
But we're here, and it's alright.
Yeah.
I'm alright.
you look fine. It's madness,
it's
actually. I mean, it's a fascinating study. And what's happening is that we are each of us being torn apart by competing ideas about what's real. It's a balkanization of consciousness, actually. What I mean by that is a complete shattering of our ideas of what is real. And what this is doing is it's causing, on that tree that's collapsing, fundamentalism. Right? Because no, we have to hold on to the old tree and go down with the ship. Yeah. And on the other hand, it's this other side is like this incredible flowering of possibility, the biggest flowering of possibility ever. That's what 2010 is actually bringing to us.
Yeah. What hasn't been possible before is opening up in massive ways.
Like this.
Yeah, and it's like all the work we've been doing over the years, it's like it's been going on, and now it's like opportunities. It's just bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think people are really open to it because they realise that tree is about to collapse, so they can't hold on to it, really.
Yeah.
So what's your option? And so now people are looking around, where's the real deal? Where can you get the real information that you need, So this is, so like if anyone's watching this out there, when you think about what are you doing, are you on the edge of this situation, and are you taking your life to the next level, Because if you are, then you're going to have so many opportunities. You're probably going to have more money, more abundance, more fun than you ever have in the rest of your life.
That you didn't even know was possible, actually.
And beyond. But everyone who's holding on, they're just going down. So there's a real thing. You're either down or you're going up. It's kind of going over. It's like a...
Right, yeah, this is going... and this is going... and it's just rising up.
Yeah.
And I kind of like to think of it this way, is that what's really happening, in my opinion, at our level where we are, is that we are the mushroom that has eaten up that rotten tree.
That's right.
And out of that tree, and all of the levitational substances and minerals that tree is made up out of, that it has literally grown against gravity its entire existence, and it's made up of some interesting stuff. And then the mushroom pulls from that tree all these interesting little spores. It forms them out of that noble substance inside that tree. And that's really what we represent, is like, we represent the noble substance that is still within civilization, that's still putting out very important and valuable information, whether it's nutrition, whether it's the proper mindset, whether it's the right kind of spiritual headset, so that we're heading in the right direction where things are getting better and we improve our connection with our Creator, or our emotional well-being. You know, we are still going to hold on to that noble essence and that noble possibility of what a government could be.
Absolutely.
Right? Of what nutrition could look like. I don't care if 500 people out of 1,000 say, nope, I don't want to have anything to do with that. Or 999 out of 1,000 say, can't do that. Doesn't matter. We'll still put out the noble ideal. We'll still back the chivalric ideal. Because that's who we are, and we're not going to cow down to the nonsense.
Absolutely.
We're not going to cow down to this like televised nonsense and this political nonsense and the banking and usury and the rip-offs and the scams and the made-offs and the rip-offs.
It's just, it's amazing. Yeah, we're not going to go along with it because someone's got to do it. Like one of the things I've been working on this morning actually is we're creating a superhero commitment page where we're going to get this out to as many people as we can to commit to being a superhero. And what are they going to do in their life, and to genuinely make that public commitment,
Hallelujah.
So, otherwise, who's going to do it? And one of the things I was writing is, if we don't do it, who's going to do it?
Right.
Who's going to? It's like, who else is there?
That's true. That's exactly it.
So
there's very few people actually, coming from the Western world and the American, Western European consciousness. There is a very amazing thing that comes out of that consciousness, and one of these ideas that comes out, these archetypes, is the superhero archetype, which is a beacon of hope for the world. I mean, when you're talking to somebody who's like living in India and you're like, oh my God, that's an American superhero, because they're aware of Superman and Batman, it's like it hits a note in their consciousness that causes them to go, wait a second, I can be a superhero from here. I can bring the best of this place has to offer. And the superhero is interesting, the archetype, because it's not a member of the military. It's not, the superhero isn't paid by the government for anything. It's not a police force, right? It's kind of a rogue operation.
That's right.
Certainly there can be superheroes who are firemen, there can be superheroes who are in the police force, there can be superheroes who are in the military, but always working from something inside that is for justice and good and doing the right thing from what is an intuitive feel in your heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. It's like an innate goodness.
It's
like
an innate goodness.
And it's a deep desire to serve and to see the highest.
Yes,
isn't it?
yes, it is.
It's very, very deep. And they're not doing it because they're getting paid. So they're not getting paid by the man. They're doing it because it's their dharma. It's their path.
It's service.
Mission, and they can't help but do that, And I think that's like we have to redefine what a superhero is, because it doesn't mean you have your cape and you're all like this and everyone's jumping over the balcony, flying over to the ocean. Of course that's good, but it's more about genuinely doing your service and being out there and not compromising and doing what other people are afraid to do.
I believe it has a lot to do with activating your mission, because this superhero idea is an activation of your mission. And what's your mission about? Well, your mission is so interesting in what it does to you that actually it transforms you into a state of having superpowers. Right? If you're really doing your mission, you can do that all day and all night without rest. That's a superpower. So there is a deep archetypical energy that we're tapping into. That it's inspirational. It's like a fountain of energy. And how do we access it? Well, we just do the right thing, do what feels good in our heart as our noble essence of our aspiration for our dharma or our mission, and boom, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I find that's something that a lot of people, come to Success Ultra now about, is they don't know what their mission is, so, and they're sort of vaguely wandering around, not sure whether they should do this or that, and there's all these things in their head. But when you know what your mission is and you get on with it, I've noticed there's so much power comes through. It's like power.
Yeah.
Power.
Yeah.
Power.
Yeah.
Power. And it somehow just things happen. People are attracted. Everything just comes together.
Definitely.
And you can't. And the thing is, you can't tell someone what that is. This is another thing. People often ask me, how do I find out my mission? What is my mission? And they want kind of consultancy. They can get consultancy, but it doesn't come from someone else.
It's an inside revelation. It's a revelation.
It's fascinating. What happened to you personally when you our activators?
I had a vision one night, actually. I'd never had a vision, anything like that ever happened to me. But it was almost like now that I look back on it, it was somewhat like a psychedelic experience where an energy came over me in August of 1994 when I was in my mom's house. I was in a bed, in my old room where I grew up in. And an energy came over me and literally pushed me out of the bed. And when I got up, I had a vision. And in that vision, I saw all my past life incarnations. I didn't even believe in past lives. I had never even thought about it. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And I was 23 years old.
Yeah.
And then as I got up, it was like a flipping of a deck of cards. Like I saw my past life incarnations, and I saw what I was supposed to do in this life. And then I saw future life incarnations. And from that point on, I knew exactly what I was supposed to do. And there was a force, like an energy of certainty that was behind me so powerfully that literally within a couple weeks I was up in front of 100 people giving a seminar about health. It was just like that quick, and was had the confidence and the ability and the certainty to do that. That's a grace, by the way. So I was definitely graced with my mission. I would recommend for anybody who's unsure about your mission, start working for the greater good of everybody, and it will just be shown to you, and begin it now. Do it now, today.
Yeah.
Begin to serve, begin to help, begin to volunteer, begin to work in a business that's supporting the environment instead of hurting the environment. Begin to, I don't know, instant message on the internet, helping people out.
Yeah.
Do something, get activated.
Yeah, I've noticed that as soon as people start giving, then they get the power, because otherwise it's all me, my problems, my drama, my this, that, and that. As soon as you think about others and other people and genuine service, then that has to be switched off, that whole program.
It is a program, right? It is a program.
Me. But it's like, well, what about everyone else? What about, there are other people in the world?
Well, do you believe this idea? I found it's a very interesting idea that the higher out your focus of your attention, for example, if you're focusing on your community, you're pretty much already healing yourself. If you're focusing on your nation, then you're pretty much healing not only your nation but also your community. If you're focusing on the world, you're healing your nation, your community, and yourself. Yeah,
I totally agree with that. This it's the same with, if you look at the horizon, everything's a lot easier to deal with. If you're looking right in front of you the whole time, it's horrible.
It's overwhelming.
We're not supposed to be small. We're not small people. We're huge. We're vast consciousness. So
great point.
Why should we be so limited? This is the whole problem. The whole reason the world's collapsing is because people have got a limited vision. Ultimately, they're thinking of short-term gains. They're thinking about little me, my little ego. They can't realise that they're eternal,
Yeah.
That one word, eternity, it's a big word.
It is a big word, and it's a very deep spiritual piece that at some point you will wrestle with and eventually come to grips with, and that is that your soul is eternal, and that this earth is eternal, and that if we don't get this place right, we're going to be reincarnated right back in here to fix it, and that piece right there is a big one, because we already got big problems to deal with right now. But if we don't deal with them, if we turn towards the numbness and go back into the drugs, the pharmaceuticals, the doctor I don't know, or dentist I don't know, or psychologist I don't know, if we go into that instead of claiming our power back, then we will be dissolved and reincarnated until we do know, until we develop a consciousness that says, I can come up with the answers, I can help.
Absolutely. We need self-sovereignty.
Yes.
Self-sovereignty. There's no question about it. The world needs self-sovereign people, and then it will be healed, and it has to start from us, one person at a time.
That inner healing is like, it's not so much like, I'm going to go fight the government. It's like, well, what is the thing inside you that created the government?
Absolutely.
What is that?
How did it get there? Because this is just a mirror, the outside world.
Right.
So you've got to go in there and have a good look. How did this even happen? I think this is one of the things I've noticed between people who make something happen in their life and those who don't, is that they take responsibility. Have you noticed that one simple thing?
Yeah.
I am responsible for my finances, for my life, for my health, my well-being, not the doctors, not the man, not some other thing. I am responsible for everything, you know? Just that one thing just shifts people's lives.
Right there, yeah. Personal responsibility. Taking full responsibility. Dr. Len, right, in his whole thing about taking responsibility for all those shadow aspects of the human consciousness that creates the mentally ill and the deranged and the insane, that creates the wars. What is it inside of us that's creating that? And the superhero addresses that. And all of these issues, whether we love it or love it, are going to come up. They're going to come up for us. That actually, this churning of this whole thing, of this time vortex that we're going into, is actually pushing it up into our consciousness. And we see it in the media. Like, I was talking to a woman who I've been working with for a dozen years. She helps me with PR. She's a business partner of mine for many years. And she said, "Did you hear about what happened to Tiger Woods?" And I was like, "No, I don't watch the news. I have no idea." So it turns out that he's been having these affairs with these women. And it all just got churned up. It's like a massive media.
Now it's like, we'll probably see it in the supermarket or some like newspaper stand that you notice or something.
It's a paparazzi, frenzy at this point on this.
Yeah.
But what's happening for him personally? Here's what's happening. It's all being churned up, right? And we're going to see this with every celebrity. Everybody is going to go through a massive meltdown, rebuild, because this deprogram that is going on is pretty intense stuff. I mean, you got to get out of the old way and get on with the new, and that's easier for some than others. And some people need to be, found out that they're cheating on their wife with 3 women in order to create enough pain to change their behavior.
This is absolutely crucial, because we can't just go around thinking everything's going to be nice and easy forever and ever and ever, because people have got used to that. It's going to be eruptions, like massive eruptions, volcanic eruptions, and everyone's going to go through it. Everyone.
Yeah.
No matter who you are, no matter how nice your life's been, if there's any of those dark energies in there at all, they have to be surfaced. They have to come up and have a look at them, and then we have to learn how to dissolve them and transcend them, and that's a real skill,
It is a real skill. It also teaches us a direction in our life. For example, if we're going a direction in our life and it's really causing us to be angry and frustrated and disappointed and live in contempt of others, we might want to just go, look, I need to live another way, because I don't this is a bad direction here.
Yeah, it's like if it isn't in alignment with the universe and with nature and with our own natural way of being, then you can't get away with it.
Yeah,
that's what it comes to.
Right,
you
can't get away with it.
You can't get away with it. It's just going to be sorrow. It's just going to be suffering and explosions and things falling apart and all your money disappearing. That's what it comes down to, really.
Yeah. So it brings us to, where is this taking us into 2010 and the superhero archetype and what's going to happen? Is we have to have a courage. We actually have to develop within ourselves courage to face our own demons and the demons of civilization, the demons of a potentially catastrophic future or potentially abundant future, the demons of making money or losing money. We have the courage to just turn away from the numbness and go, no, I'm going to actually face into responsibility. I'm going to look at what is it to be totally activated, where I don't need a vacation, I don't need a yacht, I don't need a mansion or any of this other nonsense, right? It's like, what is it to be totally activated in the world, and what does that look like, and can I do it? Do I have the power within me? How do I summon that energy? These are the questions to be asking ourselves. These are the types of media to be exposing ourselves to that cause us to introspect in that way, draw up our power. I was watching earlier today. I was playing around on YouTube, listening to my favorite my favorite songs, and one of my favorite songs is it's a Rick James song, and he was talking about what it took to produce that album, and he said, at that point in his career, this is about 1981, he was pretty much done for. Now this is before Super Freak and all this other stuff that he had out there. And he's pretty much done for, and all his friends came to him and said, look, you better get your act together and get some funk back into your music and get something that's like happy and lively, or you're done for. And he got it. He actually got that message. And he's like, whoa, this is a message from the universe. I'm going to get this together. And what was interesting is how he flipped that around, is that he said it took everything he had inside of him, everything, all innovation, all the musical creativity, everything he had to cough up that record, which had Super Freak on it, and Give It To Me Baby, and a bunch of other super hit songs, classics. And he just went right from almost hitting the bottom right to the top. In fact, he was the guy who was the main guy in the Grammys in 1982 back then. And I found that to be very interesting, is like what had to happen inside of him in order to transform that experience. Everything. Full on everything he had.
Yeah. And the interesting thing is that when we're on our mission, it feeds us. It's like we get energy. That's like you're saying, you don't need to go on vacations and all this, because you genuinely feel powered up. You feel having the best day ever means you're on vacation every day.
Yes.
That's what it means.
That's exactly it. When all your work is play, you'll never have to work another day, as the old phrase goes.
That's right. It's great, isn't it? I mean, and when you live like that, I mean, I've actually worked, I think, 3 weeks in my whole life as a proper job. Thank God, it nearly killed me. I was like, oh my God, I used to go away at lunchtime and just sleep in the sun, and I'd come back late because I just fell asleep. And I was like, I don't want to do this. You know,
this could happen to you too. If you're listening right now and you're like, I do never wanted to ever work Walmart or anything like that, ever, no way.
It's funny that people like we would never consider working in Walmart. Like, it just doesn't come in. You don't think. But when people accept that, then they end up signing the forms and going for it. You know?
Yeah.
But when you say like, that's just not even an option. It doesn't even enter. It's just, it's humorous, isn't it? We just find it extremely funny to do a job. Just like that.
There is no job.
Yeah.
The whole idea of a job is something that's not your mission. So there is no job. It doesn't exist. Actually, I love what it says in Jesus Speaks Love Without End, Glenda Green's book. And it says that death is a clearinghouse for false identities. Death is a clearinghouse for false identities. What a powerful phrase.
Beautiful.
Why does that phrase stick out? It's like, wow, I don't want to ever be doing anything that's not me. I don't want to wear anything. That's a big one for me recently, because all my business partners are saying, you need to wear other stuff. And it's like, okay, I'm willing to wear other stuff, but it's got to feel good. And I'm not going to wear this pesticide sprayed $300 Pierre Cardin, whatever that stuff is. No way. Because it's not authentic. You got to be authentic to who you are.
Absolutely. People want me to promote certain things, and it's like, well, I don't even know what it is. Why should I promote that? Send an email out to some people about some crap that is just random thing, and then I say, well, at least show it to me. Oh, I'm not going to show it to you. We just wanted to send it out. These people, they just want something, but if it doesn't feel. If it isn't in alignment, then it's only going to cause a loss ultimately. It's going to bring down. There's no real temporary gain. Doesn't work. This is why the tree's collapsing. People are after the temporary gain, but they trash the world, and now the economy's in trouble, and everything's got to be looked at again because of that.
It's the idea, we're going back to it. The seventh generation in mind, getting out of the myopic viewpoint. The superhero activates oneself. The actual act, the activation is the reward. So there is no I'm doing this for something. That goes out of the picture. The act itself, the activation itself is the reward. When you find that place inside yourself, when you activate yourself and that activation is your reward, then you have your mission. Then you know what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. It's such a joy. It's like there's nothing else there. I wouldn't want to do anything else. When there's that feeling, then there's why would you need to think about anything else? The best day ever, I feel, is like, would I do this if whatever I'm doing, would I do it if I never got paid anything, if there was no return, if I just did it now, and that was the only thing I got was this moment, would I still be doing it?
And the answer is yes.
Yeah, and
yes.
Then it means that's the Dharma. In the Gita it says that again and again. Do it. Completely release any attachment to any outcomes, the fruit of any of your actions. Be completely there, enjoying what you're doing and surrendering it for the sake of your Dharma. And then you get way more return than anything else. Like the whole God's the creator of the entire universe is then waiting to give you, because it's not one-on-one. This is connected to the whole.
Very well said. I completely agree. That's actually been my experience. That's not a theoretical or esoteric idea. That's been my experience being on my mission for going on now 16 years. It's pretty interesting what happens to you and how it transforms you. And the energy that comes through you at any given time can be an infinite amount of energy. So if it's 3 in the morning and suddenly I got to do this phone call and I got to get this person on the phone because this is a super important project, I'll get them on the phone call, and we will get things going at 3 in the morning, and there will be an infinite amount of energy behind it.
Yeah.
So this idea too is also like the biggest complaint in the Western world about health, right? Because I'm in the health field.
Yeah.
Biggest complaint, guess what it is? Low energy.
Oh, is it?
So what that means is that you're working, doing something you can't stand it.
That's fascinating.
That's it.
Isn't it? Yeah.
That's what low
again
energy
and
is.
Again and again.
Yeah. You immediately have energy as soon as you do something you love. It's like and there's an infinite amount of it.
Yeah. Very, very interesting. Yeah. People are they're paying for your time in their jobs, isn't it? They give you money and you give them your life for a period of time.
Yep.
And then they stop paying and you come out of it. This is strange.
Here's what I would recommend if you are in a situation where you're in a job, which means just over broke. Here's what I would recommend. You are no longer working for any of those people. You're not working for Walmart. You're not working for McDonald's. You're not working for this business or that business. You are working and have always been working for one person, yourself. You are the president of your own personal services corporation. And so as soon as you go into service, your own personal services, and that you are now the president of your own personal services corporation, then you step into actually really activating any possibility, even inside McDonald's, a Burger King, a Walmart, or wherever that is.
You open up to something else.
But you open up to something else, where all of a sudden you realize that, look, whoa, by serving, you could actually go right to the top of Walmart and get them sorted out on economic and ecologically friendly shipping, for example, or something, that could be positive.
Absolutely. It makes a big difference. As soon as there's the service, bang, the power.
Yeah.
Low energy. I've noticed again and again, if I actually am feeling stressed about something, I should just stop what I'm doing and do something else. I've found that as soon as there's that low energy, because some stuff, it's a bit technical, computers and things, and it's like a bit push, and I realise that just never works out. The best thing, I just get away from it, and then, like happened today, I was trying to design something, this superhero thing, I was thinking it just wasn't happening. So I went out, had a smoothie, sat in the sun, just wandered around a bit, came back and it was all there. I wrote it down, it's even in my pad, did a couple of drawings here, and that was it. But forcing ourselves to do things it doesn't work. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think what Michael's saying here is a really deep insight. There's our beekeeper. It's a really deep insight on how you structure your day-to-day life. I've found it to be exactly accurate. If I'm doing something and I'm inspired, I'm there. But if I'm not, then I'll switch to something else.
Absolutely.
And that's why I like running about 5 to 10 different projects all at once, because I'll go from, I was on an airplane the other night, and I was like, I really feel like writing this book. And my energy is on to writing this book. So boom, next thing I know, I'm writing that book. I'm totally into it. I'm there for hours and hours and hours, having the best time ever writing this book. And right now, I don't feel like writing that book.
No. And then, so what's the point? And if you did, you'd just be wasting time.
Yeah, I'd be pushing against a brick wall, and that's the writer's block. That's the whole idea of writer's block.
Yeah. One time I was wondering what I'm actually doing. So I added it all up, and I realised I'm working on 16 projects at all times. Pretty much consistently, And it's like, it sounds a bit mad, but I like so much variety that it works out. And it might take longer, because there's so many different things, but I'm enjoying myself all along, and that's why they happen, And 16 might be a bit ridiculous.
Let's take it back to this idea. Somebody's out there, they're like, okay, I want to activate myself as a superhero. I don't know what my mission is. What do I do? I'm working in this job that I hate. What do I do? One of the things you can do right away is to eat less, live more, eat less, sleep less, live more, get more work done in that 2 hours before you go to bed, that is going to drive you towards another project, that's going to open up a door for you, that's going to blossom into something that could potentially be huge. Put your focus there, so even if you've had to spend your whole day and all this energy and all this stuff to deal with all the other obligations, you gotta carve out 2 hours a day that is for developing projects that are service oriented for the world, that are the real heart and soul of what a superhero is about.
Yeah, absolutely. Because then you're activating something, it grows and it grows and it grows, and when you add up all those hours, that's a big deal.
It's a big deal. Actually, you know how much of a deal it is? In a year, those 2 extra hours a day turn out to be a month extra time. 1 whole month of extra time that you got out of that.
That's amazing.
Year.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
that is amazing. So we're now coming to a point where we are developing ourselves as superheroes and having the best day ever with the tools, right? So there's tools available. Here's another important point, and we'll probably close on this, and that is not every tool is for everybody. Not every tool is for everybody. I'm not the person who's going to be sitting in the yoga studio meditating. My meditation is out in my garden. When I'm in my garden and I'm by myself and it's late in the afternoon, kind of in that evening dusk time, that is one of the deepest feelings of connection and meditation that I feel. So we need to look at all these tools and go, is that one for me?
Absolutely, because it doesn't work for some people.
Right.
You can't, what are they going to do is sit there, and I can sit for hours doing meditation. I've done that for years. But a lot of people, they sit them down, they're twitching, they can't handle it. What's the point? This doesn't work. So I said, go for a walk, go and do something else. Go for it. It doesn't matter as long as it's nourishing. That's all that counts.
So important. That is such an important idea, because we get confused there in the past.
Yeah.
We have been confused about that. Like, oh, how do I do all this stuff? And it's like, well, do the stuff that's working for you, and do something. Do something. If it's like in the middle of the night the other night, I'm like, oh, I didn't do my inversions yet. It's like 3 in the morning. Yeah. I'm hanging upside down for my swing, and just because I got to get that in the day, and so I'm doing something, and I'm so activated in that way that it's like I will not let the day pass, even in the last moment of the day, without taking action in a way that's appropriate for what I'm into.
Yeah. I just want to mention one thing is that a lot of people are interested in the law of attraction, the secret, and it's this idea you can just float around in your own little world and imagine you've got millions of dollars and a new house and all these things, and that's it, and all of a sudden things will happen. But I don't think that's quite the real deal. You need to do something,
It's right. It's thought, word, and deed.
Yeah. It's all three. Vision, plan, action. And I'm actually creating a product about this to help people vision, plan, and act. So they're having the best day ever, which then becomes the best life ever because they're on a plan. You know what I mean? And I think I want to hear your take
what
on
I
this
do.
Because, because you've definitely manifested a lot of things. So here's someone who's genuinely pulled it off again and again and again.
What Michael's talking about here, this vision, plan, action, is something that I actually do constantly all the time. In fact, I'm always writing the book of my own life. It's called goal setting. It's called project development. It's conversations that I have with business partners to develop and evolve projects. It's actions that are taken in response to that vision and that plan. So it's what I've done is taken what I learned from success technology and just applied it. It's just part of my lifestyle now. That is so critical that we have all three pieces: the vision, the plan, and then the action. And of those, to me, the one that is most powerful, action. Action, not words. That is one of the things in this world. It's like I will force myself into action every single day, just in the yard, just in the garden. No, I got to get out there. Sometimes it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like I haven't gotten out there, and I will just get up off the computer, put everything away, and just force myself into action. Because part of what I want to do every day is I want to take action on developing this place as a beautiful jewel in the world of what a farm could be, and I know what that's going to take. It's going to take 2 hours every single day, and you got to do it. Action must be taken. Og Mandino gave us this great phrase: do it now, do it now, do it now, do it now, do it now. When should I do it? Now. What do you think is a good time for this? Now. Do you think we should have this meeting? Yes, now. That kind of a thing.
Yeah, abs. That makes a difference. Otherwise, it's just chat. And I've noticed whenever you're here, like things happen, 10 times more powerfully. And I think it's not because you're going around telling people to do things. It's because your energy and because you're the embodiment of that. It's contagious, Right. I think that's what makes the difference. The real leaders don't need to be going around like that. They are what they are, and everyone else is inspired.
Yeah, exactly. It's an energy, because the energy that is coursing through me is an energy of let's get it done. Let's activate. Let's, which is not you, it's we are going to get this done together. Let's. Yeah. I learned that from Jim Rohn. Is like, hey, if you're willing to tell somebody to do something, you better be willing to do it too, and you better want to do it. So, like for me, it's like I've done every single job in every one of my businesses, every single role. The idea of the manager who looks down onto the floor of the manufacturing plant and says, you do this, that's over with. That's been gone a long time ago. That has nothing to do with the information age.
Yeah, in fact, because of that, you've got the power,
Yeah.
Otherwise, if, say, you need to upload a video and you say, I don't know how to upload a video, you have to wait for the tech guy. Then what are you going to do? You can have this... So I find I actually have to learn all these things, otherwise I'm stuck. Then I'm like trapped. So, and also we can't really outsource anything we don't know what it is. How am I going to tell anyone else what something is like if I haven't done it?
So important to speak from experience. So there we have it. We've covered really what the best day ever is all about. It's really an attitude.
Yeah.
It's an energy that comes out of you that's eternally in abundance, and it's like a bubbling spring. It's springing forth with activity.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Blessings.
All right.
Absolutely
From
wonderful.
one superhero to another.
Yes,
thank you, Michael, for your time.
Thank you.
To everybody out there, have the best day ever. And we'll see you here again. Signing off from Noniland, this is David Avocado Wolfe and Michael Mackintosh.
Aloha.